Hi dear friends, hope you are doing well, and today we'll talk about GRE writing task. We will start with the issue task. As you know, the GRE task consists of issue and argument tasks. Today we will discuss the issue task, and it is similar to IELTS TOEFL, agree to agree, or IELTS discuss both views and give your opinion essays. So you are presented a topic. You are presented with the question. So, for example, let me show you a pool of questions, let me show you some sample questions. So, look, for example, governments should place few, if any, restrictions on scientific research and development. So, you see, here we see the topic that there should be little to no restriction. Okay, so and you see the instruction below. Write a response in which you discuss the extent to which you agree or disagree with the following recommendation and explain the reasoning for your position you take. In developing and supporting, describe specific circumstances and so on. Okay, so generally you discuss whether you agree or disagree with this opinion. Remember that it doesn't matter whether you agree or disagree. What matters is your ability to express your ideas and write. Okay, or for example, this one. It is similar to IELTS best way essays. The best way to teach is to praise positive actions and ignore negative ones. So, do you agree with this or do you disagree? Do you agree that this is the best way or not? Okay, so there can also be questions where there are two views. Let me find one of them. Where you have two views and you need to choose which view you support. Let me see whether I can find one of these questions. Okay, here. Educational institutions should dissuade, it is the anthem of persuade, okay? Students from pursuing fields of study in which they are unlikely to succeed. So, do you think that they should dissuade or persuade? Okay, discuss your view. Write it. Discuss your views on the polls and explain your reasoning for the position you take. So, no, this is not the thing that I said. They are clearly stating two opposite views. Some people think that it is good to dissuade students from pursuing fields in which they are unlikely to succeed, and others say that no, it is good to this. It is important to persuade them to try. Discuss which views more closely aligns to your view and so on. Okay, this is the structure of the question that you may have. Now let's analyze one of these questions and see how to write a very good GRE essay. So first of all, before starting the writing process, we need to understand that there is just one topic and you'll have 30 minutes to write it. I mean for the issue task. Of course, you'll have 30 minutes for one argument task. So within these 30 minutes, you need to think over the question, plan it, and then start writing. It is very important to think and plan. Take at least 2 to 3 minutes to plan. Okay, so for example, as people rely more and more on technology to solve problems, the ability of humans to think for themselves will surely deteriorate. Discuss the extent to which you agree or disagree with the statement and explain the reasoning for your position. So actually, you need to introduce the topic first of all. The structure of this is very simple and very straightforward. Let me write it here. So you have the clear introduction, you have body paragraphs. In every body paragraph, you will write one reasoning, one argument, or argument based on one example, and conclusion. The purpose of each introduction is to introduce the topic, give the background for the topic, which is not the case for IELTS, but for GRE it's very important to give the background about technology, the role of technology, and so on. And in the second part of the introduction, we state the topic clearly, we write about the topic and state our position. Okay, in body paragraphs, we state our argumentation, we state our explanation for our argumentation and explain one example based on our argument, clarify this example, compared with IELTS and TOEFL, we need to deeply analyze the example that we are presenting. Okay, so let's show you one sample. So you see, in the first part, let me show it to you. You see, we state the topic, the statement linking technology negative with free thinking, place, and so we give some background. Then we start. You see, the writer has written a very long introduction. It's quite okay. You can write a shorter introduction. Just give some overview about technology, the role of technology. Then restate the topic. Then write about your position. Your position needs to be a bit clearer compared with the IELTS. You need to explain why you think like this in this reasoning process. So, do you think that technology is, let's say, people shouldn't be reliant on technology and so on? So, you see here, there are some points that the writer has mentioned in the introduction. You are not required to do this, to be honest, but you can write at least your general position and claim based on what your ideas are based. Then, in your argumentation, you need to write about. Let me clean. So, in your argumentation, you need to give. Brief explanations to every example. So, because every argument should be based on at least one example. So, for example, in the first body paragraph after intro, see introduction, here we see the body paragraph 1. So this is the first body paragraph. Here we see that the statement attempts to bridge these dramatic changes to a reduction in the ability of humans to think for themselves. So you see here we try to analyze the assumption and try to explain why the argument may be right, and we can show the example of a computer, car, mobile, so technology that may do this actually. But our main position is not to agree with this, and we show, however, this reliance doesn't necessarily preclude the creativity that marks the human species. So as you see, so as you see here, we in the second paragraph we explain that, but it's not let's say something that expected, and we explain again the car, computer, and phone. Actually give the counter argument for this example, because on the GRE test your arguments are based on examples. It is very important to explain examples very detailed. So we give the counter argument for the example, and we talk about the technology actually frees humanity not to tackle with new problems and may itself create new issue that didn't exist without technology. It's a real case, and thus we give another example about fuel conservation and conservation. Sorry. Then we state another example in contrast to the statement. You see, we give an additional contrast. We can even see technology frees human imagination, and we can show how it frees. For example, we show the example of WebMD, the portal for medical information, and we explain this the role of this portal, and we then also give examples of people, how, for Jeffrey Sachs, for example, UN Millennium Development Goals, for example, how he based his ideas on triage techniques, and what happens with, let's say, his how he uses technology in terms of creativity. Then we give the other example about technology and how it plays the role in humanity. So we state the argument, then we give again we a bit clarified, and then give a specific example on which we build our argument. So as you see, GRE wants you to build your arguments based on examples, and these examples need to be very detailed, explained, and evaluated. Then finally, in the conclusion part, we need to restate, technology may limit to some extent our let's say creativity, but in general we can't say this, because it actually technology is very important for us, and actually it will solve it will create new problems for which we need to find solutions, so it will require some creativity, and so on. So we'll finally restate in the conclusion. Just remember that introduction and conclusion for the GRE test shouldn't be long. Should be a bit longer than in IELTS. And you need to give some background information in the introduction before you start writing the topic.